Hello, it's Tolu Sarah Johnson here once again. I would love to talk on something that I feel a lot of people think about a lot, but they don't know how to challenge God about it. And the ones that actually challenge God, it sounds like rebellion to other people that are not bold enough or confident enough to do that. And usually the ones that tend to challenge will either say, I'm now an atheist or I'm an humanitarian. I'm no longer attached to Christians because your God to me feel abusive. So a lot of people think that God abuses them. And it's a question that can seem true, but it is not true. But God has empathy for people who might think that he is abusive and is yearning for him to be able to communicate directly to each child and explain to them, I am not abusive. It might feel as if I am abusive. I am not. Because a lot of his children, like myself, see God through the lens of what they've experienced on earth. So if you see innocent children suffering around you, you see good people dying too early. Like when my husband passed on, I wasn't expecting him to die early. I had a different vision. I had a vision of me and my husband were going to be here till we are old and probably die together. Prayers feel ignored. There's so many prayers that we have prayed. There's sometimes I've asked God for a request and I'm still there years on and I'm still looking forward to God answering me. So when you look at that, betrayal is from people who should protect you. So when you feel betrayals as well from people who you think should be close to you, like your parent, like your spouse, like your children, like your close friends, and the way religion uses God's name to control, to punish, or to punish as well, can make you feel that God is abusive. You see the wicked prospering. There's so many wicked people today on earth that they prosper. And you see the righteous break. The people that you think are close to God, they go through tough time. And you wonder, why is someone wicked that is very wicked is so prosperous? And you that you are supposed to know, you are supposed to be closer to God because you're a Christian, feel that you go through ups and downs. There's so many reasons to it, and each person's life is so different. But I'm going to share a testimony, or I'm going to share my own story from my own perspective of my husband, who was here until he was 40, passed on at the age of 40. Throughout his adult life, he did so many things. He was well qualified, did his master's, went for a lot of business trainings. There's nothing he tried that ever worked. I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for him. Nothing ever worked. How do you think I will see God in that moment? I never saw him as an abusive father. I never got to that level. But at the same time, my heart naturally blames him because I'm like, God, you've got control of this. Why can't you just change my husband's life? But later on now, I know why. God said that was what I wanted his life to be. I wanted him to suffer. I wanted him to build that close relationship with me. I needed him as a friend. And that was his destiny. But I never had that understanding. My husband, Ben, knew he was a friend of God, but he never knew that God wanted him to be his friend to the extent of him not being able to do anything that he wanted to do, that he has to dedicate his life to him. Maybe if Ben knew that, maybe if I knew that, we'll stop praying. So, because a lot of us think that God has abandoned us when they were actually standing right beside him. Let me rephrase that. A lot of us think God has abandoned us while he's actually right beside us. So our journey in life might make God feel abusive to us. the things that we've experienced might make us feel God is abusive to us. And that is as a result, largely, the way religion has presented God. They presented God to you that if something wrong is going on in your life, it's because you've done something wrong to God and God is against you. But that is not the case. And that is not who God is. It might feel like an abuse because God didn't stop what hurt you. He didn't explain himself when you begged for clarity. He didn't intervene when someone wronged you. He stayed invisible when you needed visible help. He remains silent when you ask for loud answers. Silence like this might feel like neglect. Delays like this might feel like punishment. Hiddenness feels like abandonment. So, in our heart, we just conclude if you could have stopped this, but you didn't, then you must not care. And this is not a sinful conclusion, it is a human one. It's okay for you to be frustrated. I saw so many times when my husband was frustrated with God and he lashed out on God. Like, God, I've been crying unto you. Why are you not doing this? And as I'm speaking, I don't know who you are out there that you're going through challenges, you're going through pain, you're going through widowhood, you're going through loss. Whatever you're going through, I want you to know that God is never the abusive father, and his heart is 100% with you, because he wouldn't bleed for the world he created if he was an abusive father. Do you know how he keeps trying every day to keep this heart going? And God has let me know that the fact that a wicked person is being blessed, he didn't say he's not going to bless the wicked or he's not going to bless the world. We are all his children, remember. And there's a law. If you put in an hard work into something and God blesses you, it's not because God supports the wicked. The rain falls on both the good and the evil. Remember that. The sun falls on us all together. So the fact that a wicked person excels does not mean that God cares about them more than he cares about you, or it doesn't mean that God doesn't care about what they do. God is really complex, and sometimes I don't understand it. Sometimes his love is way out of my depth. But what you just need to understand is the more you know him, you will start getting to know that he's not an abusive father. He wouldn't give human free will. He will have instead forced obedience on us, which he has not done. If an obedience is forced on you, a lot of time is by religious leaders. God does not require a forced obedience on you. And he wouldn't heal the brokenhearted. He's come to my head, even though I lost my husband when I did not expect, but he has healed me and is still in the process of healing me. And that is the God who loves. He wouldn't restore what trauma tried to destroy. Yes, there were so many things that the trauma in my life tried to destroy. It tried to destroy my hope in God. It tried to destroy my faith in God. But through these experiences, I've been able to create more empathy for people. Life is about ups and downs. Even God goes through challenges. And our journey differs. And God told me, you agreed to come to this journey. Before you left the world, before you left heaven, rather, you knew what you were coming to do. So we lose the remembrance. We lose, oh, I don't know why I forgot the English word I'm trying to use. We lose the memory that we agreed that we're coming to this world to walk this particular journey that is on our way. And when we are able to reconnect back to God, God is able to shed more light on our journey. But if you're unable to communicate to God, if you don't know how to access him, how will you be able to know what he has ordained for you? And there are some things that God will not tell you, because if God tells you what is the purpose of faith, so there are some of the journeys that he will never tell us, but as we go along the way, God is able to reveal more to us. He wouldn't transform shame into purpose if he did not care, if he was an abusive God. All of the things I've experienced, God has transformed it into a purpose in my life. And he wouldn't sit with people in their darkest places if he does not care. He has sat with me. He has helped me in this last 2.5 years. He has taken me from nothing into something, from pain into healing. And he wouldn't allow himself to be misunderstood in order to protect our freedom. So, God is not an abusive father. Abuser take power, but God has given us power. God gives it. Abuser demand everything, but God waits to be invited. So many times he said, Tolu, I'm not going to force you. I'm going to wait for the time that you're ready to have a relationship with me. Abuser violate, God restores. So yes, even though there's some things that might be taken in your life by devil, God always find ways of restoring that back. And the main reason why people think God is abusive is because we've been taught lies about him. Religion specifically told people God will punish you. God is disappointed in you. God is watching to catch your mistakes. God sends suffering to teach lessons. God will abandon you if you fail. God is angry unless you perform. The reason goes on. But all of this is lie. That is not God. That's religion wearing God's clothes. That is not the God I now know. And when a child grows up under an abusive impersonation of God, they naturally believe the real God is the same. But the truth is, God is the safest being in the universe, but the least understood. He is not abusive, but life is. Yes, what we experience in life is. People are. Trauma is. Systems are. Religion is. Sin is. But it's not God. And because he doesn't force himself into human choices, he often gets blamed for what he didn't create. But here is the healing truth. God is not the cause of your hurt. He is the one who sits inside it with you until you rise again. And I have experienced it. It sat with me 2.5 years ago when I suddenly became a widow and I didn't know how to walk out of it. And it's been with me, and it's turned my testimony into healing for other people. And if you don't go through a journey, how will you understand people's pain? Until I became a widow, I never understood what it is to be a widow. See your life. You are not here to enjoy. You are not here to live the best of the best life. You are here to fulfill destiny. And part of fulfilling destiny is you will experience hurt. You will experience pain. But if you don't go through trials, how can you be the best version of yourself? Pain teaches us about life. It teaches us to be the best version of who God has created us to. But that doesn't mean that God is abusive, because he suffers as well. When you are in pain, he is in pain. He cries with you. And as we close this, I want you to start seeing God from a different lens. Open up your mind. All the things that religion has told you about him, start releasing them. That is why this channel is about detoxing religion. Detoxing religion and helping you to understand the real God. The real God needs to be understood. And the only way that you can understand the real God is to start forgetting, is to start deconstructing from all the lies that religion has told you about God, and start knowing that devil might tell you that he is abusive, like he told Job. If God was with you, why would God do this? Why would God do that? In the end, but Job conquered. And Job became victorious. And the victory that Job had, a lot of us in the church today, we paint it as the double portion. I remember having an interview with Job over 2 years ago. And Job said, Tolu, it is not about the double portion. It is about being able to go through pain. And I was able to come out of it unbreakable. God was able to scale me through. I was able to stay in faith. I was able to stay intact in God. And that's the testimony, that whatever challenges, whatever pain that you're going through today, you're still able to hold on to God. You don't let go of him. And even if you let go of him, it's not going to let go of you, because he's your father. And he keeps telling me, Tolu, when does a son stop being a son? When does a daughter stop being a daughter? Whether you believe in, whether you are an atheist, whether you believe in any religion, know that you are still his child and he still cares for you. And he will still always be there waiting for you, trying to win your love back. But as we close, I want you to remember, he's not the abusive father. But life is. People are. Trauma is. Systems are. Religion is. Sin is. But he is not an abusive father. And I hope you're blessed by this. God bless.